Hey guys, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it, thanks. And also let me know where y'all are watching from and at what time. I'm curious. If there's one thing I learned from that night, it's that no good story ever starts with "everything was going fine." Sarah and I were somewhere in the mountains of Oregon, deep enough into the trees that even the squirrels probably needed GPS. It was one of those spur-of-the-moment road trips you regret about 20 minutes after committing. No real plan, no real destination, just a beat-up Honda, a half-dead portable radio, and the kind of optimism only stupid people or young lovers have. It was around dusk, that creepy hour when the sky is still lit, but the ground's already gone dark. The cell signal had tapped out hours ago, and the GPS kept spinning like it was drunk. We were arguing, in that happy couple way, about whether we were still on the right road when the radio crackled to life. At first I thought it was just more static, maybe a country station too stubborn to die. But then, under the fuzz, a voice broke through, old, raspy, like a grandpa who'd been smoking since World War I. "Attention, attention, entity approaching, be advised. Nathan and Sarah, Nathan and Sarah." My hands locked on the steering wheel. Sarah dropped her half-eaten bag of trail mix into the footwell. Did it just say our names?" she asked. I didn't answer. I was too busy trying not to plow the car into a pine tree. I yanked the wheel to the right, gravel spitting from the tires, and we skidded to a hard stop just shy of a ditch. The radio kept sputtering. "Remain calm, shelter immediately. Do not engage the entity. Nathan and Sarah." The engine ticked as it cooled. The forest around us breathed. I swear I could hear it. A slow, massive inhale. "Well," I said, forcing a laugh that sounded more like a dying goat. "At least they're polite enough to warn us by name." Sarah didn't laugh. She was too busy fiddling with the radio, her hands trembling. The signal kept coming, louder now, as if the very trees had taken up the call. The worst part? It wasn't just a recording. It knew we were there. Sarah clicked the radio off. It clicked itself back on. Static poured out like a waterfall. The same voice cut through again, its tone unchanged, as if it hadn't noticed we were panicking. Or worse, maybe it had. "Nathan and Sarah, seek shelter. Repeat, seek shelter immediately." I looked at her. She looked at me. And because we are, at our core, two idiots in love, we didn't immediately drive away like any rational person would. Instead, I said, "Maybe it's just a prank. Shortwave kids messing around." Even as I said it, I didn't believe it. Not for a second. Sarah stared at the radio, her eyes wide and wild. "How would they know our names?" "Good question, excellent question, 5 stars. I gave a shrug that was supposed to look confident and ended up looking more like a seizure. The radio kept pulsing, a low, rhythmic hum underneath the words now, almost like it was syncing with my heartbeat. Dum thud, dum thud, dum thud. In the pit of my stomach, something was shifting. Fear, yes, but also curiosity. It's amazing how stupid you can be when you're scared. You want answers, even if the answer is you're about to be eaten alive by something with too many teeth. Sarah squeezed my arm. "It's getting stronger, louder." She was right. Every second the voice seemed to sharpen, the static clearing a little more, guiding us. I pointed down the road where, just barely, I spotted a narrow dirt trail slicing into the trees. No signs, no reflectors. It was the kind of path that said, "Enter here if you're tired of living." "I think that's where it's coming from," I said. Sarah blinked at me. "So naturally you want to follow it." "Well, when you say it like that, it sounds like a bad idea," I said. "But what if someone needs help?" She hesitated, bit her lip, then finally sighed. "You owe me so much ice cream after this." We turned the car onto the trail. Branches clawed at the sides like fingernails. The deeper we drove, the stronger the signal became. The radio hissed and popped. Ahead of us, the trees bent toward each other, forming a crooked tunnel, and somewhere inside it, something was calling our names. The trail ended in a ragged clearing no bigger than a backyard. In the middle of it sat a building that could barely call itself a shack. It looked like a ranger station if the ranger had given up on life around 1952. Roof sagging, walls peeling, one window boarded up with what looked suspiciously like gravestones. The radio was screaming now, static fizzing and crackling like a lit fuse. Nathan and Sarah, shelter immediately, shelter immediately. Sarah grabbed my wrist so hard I thought she might snap it. That's it, she said. That's where it's coming from. Brilliant deduction, Sherlock. Still, I nodded. Yeah, home sweet home. I tried to make it sound funny, but it came out shaky. We climbed out of the car, leaving the headlights on, washing the clearing in weak yellow light. The trees pressed close around us, tall and black and silent. Somewhere in the back of my mind, a little voice was begging, "Get back in the car. Get back in the car." But we didn't. Because when you're standing on the edge of something awful, you don't always know it's awful until you're already knee-deep. The door to the shack was ajar, swinging slightly in the breeze. If it was a breeze. The radio noise poured out of it, louder now, snapping and whining like a cornered animal. I pushed the door open with 2 fingers. It creaked like it was trying to warn me. Inside, it was dark and close and smelled like damp wood and something sour. There was a shortwave radio on a battered desk, cracked almost in half, the dial glowing a sickly green. It was still on, still broadcasting, still calling for us. The walls, I didn't see it at first, but the walls were covered in tally marks. Long, ragged scratches, some dark with what I really hoped was old rust. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Sarah made a soft noise in her throat. I turned and realized she was staring at the floor. Names written into the dust, dozens of them, and at the very top, scrawled fresher than the rest, like someone had just done it, were 2 more, Nathan, Sarah. The shortwave crackled once more, louder than ever, and the voice said clear as a bell, "They have arrived." Sarah backed up so fast she nearly tripped over a broken chair. I grabbed her arm to steady her, even though my own legs felt about as reliable as wet spaghetti. We stared at our names etched into the dust like gravestones. Nathan, Sarah, fresh, clean, like they'd been waiting for us, like maybe they knew we were coming. Sarah whispered, "We have to go." No argument here. My brain was already halfway back to the car. My feet just hadn't caught up yet. Still, something held me there, some dumb part of me that thought, maybe we should check the radio first. Maybe it's some kind of distress signal, because clearly after seeing our names written by invisible hands, what I needed most was more trauma. "Maybe it's a prank," I said, because saying anything else would make it real. Sarah looked at me like I had personally invented stupidity. "A prank?" she hissed. "Who drives out into the middle of nowhere, sets up a creepy shack, and—" The radio cut her off. New voice, different than before. "Observation logged, transmission stable, await next arrival." The voice wasn't raspy this time. It was smooth, cold, like someone reading your obituary out loud before you even finished breathing. The air in the room changed, got thicker, heavier. It pressed down on us like a giant hand. I made a half-hearted attempt at humor because that's what I do when the world falls apart. "At least we're famous now," I said, nodding toward the names. "Top billing, even. Hope they spelled my name right on the t-shirts." Sarah didn't laugh, not even a pity chuckle. Instead, she moved to the door, fast, like she was pulling herself free from invisible strings. "Now, Nate, now." I followed her without argument. As we stepped outside, the night seemed different, not just darker, deeper, the kind of dark that feels solid. Behind us, the shack's windows flickered with a faint pale light. The radio still buzzed inside, voices layering over each other now, a rising tide of static and words. "Shelter, shelter, shelter, incoming." Nathan and Sarah, Nathan and Sarah. And somewhere beneath it all, so soft you could almost miss it, came a third voice. A voice that wasn't warning us, it was welcoming us. The second we hit the clearing, I knew something was wrong. The trees had moved. That sounds insane, right? Trees don't move, they're rooted, permanent. But these ones weren't where they had been. The trail we'd driven in on, gone. The car sat there, headlights still on, but the dirt road, the only road, had vanished like smoke. Sarah saw it too. She stopped dead, mouth open. I could almost hear the gears grinding in her brain, trying to rearrange reality into something that made sense. That's when the third voice came over the radio. Not the old man voice, not the cold narrator voice. This one was different. It was low, hungry, closer. "You're almost here." The words slid over the clearing like oil, coating everything, making my skin crawl. And then, as if that wasn't enough nightmare fuel, the car alarm went off, blasting into the quiet with that horrible, shrieking honk honk honk, like the world's worst trumpet solo. Sarah screamed. I jumped about 3 feet in the air and spun toward the car, heart hammering my ribs. The lights on the Honda were flashing, throwing crazy shadows across the clearing. Tall, long-limbed things that jerked and danced against the trees. For one horrible second I thought I saw something standing just beyond the clearing. Not an animal, not a person, something taller, thinner, watching. I blinked, and it was gone. Maybe it had never been there. Maybe my brain just wanted something to blame. Because how do you blame empty air? Sarah grabbed my sleeve and yanked. "Forget the car," she cried. "We have to get out of here." "But the keys." "No time," she said. Her voice cracked, raw with fear. "We can't stay here." Another blast of the alarm, another flash of the headlights, another glimpse of long, wrong shadows creeping closer. We turned and ran, straight into the trees, no trail, no plan, no clue where we were going, just away. Away from the shack, away from the voice, away from whatever was now stalking us under the cover of the trees that no longer stood still. The forest swallowed us fast. 1 minute we were in a clearing. The next, we were darting between trees like we'd fallen into some Grimm Brothers nightmare. Branches snagged our sleeves, roots grabbed at our ankles. The trees here weren't content just to stand around. But the static kept calling. That faint buzz, like a dying bee stuck in a coffee can, drifted through the woods, thin and steady. It came from somewhere ahead, and because apparently we both had the survival instincts of a potato, we chased it. Sarah was a few steps ahead, flashlight jittering in her hands. The beam bounced off bark and bushes, sometimes catching a flash of something that made us run faster. Not because we saw anything, but because we were terrified we would. Night came down fast, like someone flipped a switch. Sunset, twilight. Nope, just full-on black. "Why is it so dark already?" Sarah asked between breaths. "Maybe Oregon forgot about daylight savings," I panted. "Or maybe the trees are absorbing time, I don't know." I flunked out of Evil Forestry 101. She didn't laugh, but I saw her shoulders twitch. A little humor, even dumb humor, can keep the fear from cracking your ribs. And then we saw it. Lights, flickering between the trees, maybe 20 yards off, like old flashbulbs, popping, one by one, white light, then green, then a deep violet that made my stomach twist like I'd just swallowed a handful of magnets. "What is that?" she whispered. I wanted to say something reassuring, like maybe it was campers, fireflies, a really artsy rave, but all I managed was, "Bigfoot's throwing a disco?" The lights kept flickering, not in patterns, but in pulses. And the static? It was stronger now, clearer, like the signal was leading us. It didn't feel like a trap. It felt like an invitation, which in hindsight is probably worse. At least traps are honest. The trees thinned ahead, and I caught a glimpse of another clearing. This one wasn't empty, and what we saw next made the radio seem like a bedtime story. We stepped into the clearing like we were stepping onto another planet. It was quiet. Too quiet. Not just no birds quiet, more like sound has been vacuumed out of the air quiet. Even our footsteps on the moss felt muted, like we were ghosts walking over a memory. In the center stood a shack, not a shack, the shack. Same collapsed roof, same warped walls, same boarded window. But that wasn't the part that made my blood freeze. It was the light inside, soft, flickering, and casting shadows that moved before we did. We crept closer, drawn like moths too dumb to understand fire. The windows were cracked but intact, and we peered through them, breath fogging the glass. Inside we saw us. 2 people, a man and a woman, same clothes, same hair, same everything. But wrong, they moved in jerks like puppets filmed on bad VHS. Their limbs lagged behind their decisions, mouths opening seconds before sound caught up. and the radio on the table between them buzzed with the same static hum that had been stalking us for hours. Sarah made a noise in her throat, somewhere between a sob and a gag. The not her turned toward the window. I swear it looked straight at us. "Nate," Sarah whispered, grabbing my coat. "What is this?" I shook my head. I didn't have words. I barely had thoughts. My brain felt like a dial-up modem trying to download a hurricane. Inside, the radio crackled, the voice again. "Observation complete, loop stable, subjects remain unaware." The other us sat down in perfect sync. Still, still, still. Then suddenly jerking to life again like a scratch film reel restarting a scene. "I think we're watching a loop," I said, "like a recording. But it's us." "Yeah," a long pause. "And if this already happened," she said, her voice dry and cracking, "then how does it end?" Before I could answer, the broadcast shifted. Voices overlapped, layered like old wax paper. I could hear dozens, maybe hundreds of people speaking at once, some crying, some laughing, some begging. And under all of it, loud and clear, came my own voice. "If you're hearing this, you're already too late." We stumbled backward from the window like the glass itself had bitten us. The clearing pulsed once, not with light, but with something else, like the forest had exhaled and we were standing too close to its mouth. Sarah clutched my hand like it was the only real thing left in the world. "We're in it," she whispered. "We're already inside." I nodded slowly. "It's not a radio station." "What is it then?" "It's a recording booth, for ghosts." That actually got a tiny laugh out of her, or maybe just a wheeze of terror. We sat down on a log just outside the glow of the clearing. I don't know why. Our legs had stopped working properly and the static had sunk into our bones. The voices from the shack were louder now, and not just our voices, but dozens more. Some were whispering nonsense, others mumbling names over and over. A woman sobbing, a child humming an off-key tune, a man screaming the same 4 words until his throat seemed to tear. "Let me out, let me out." And beneath them the announcer's voice again, calm, clipped, cold. Broadcast repeating. "All loops remain active. Nathan and Sarah, observation in progress." "I think it's a time loop," I said, "or a signal caught in time, a glitch that plays anyone who hears it." Sarah hugged her knees. "So what happens to people like us?" The woods answered for me. A low mechanical voice emerged from the trees, not from the radio this time, but from somewhere all around us. "Subject recognition complete. Final phase initiated." I looked back at the shack. The figures inside were moving again, only faster now, twitching, melting, like celluloid film left in the sun. And as they faded into flickers and shadow, I understood. Those weren't our past selves. They were projections, echoes, impressions burned into the signal from people who had once been real, and we'd just joined their playlist. Not dead, not alive, just trapped, waiting to be broadcast to the next unlucky pair that tuned in at the wrong time. We ran. Again, only this time we didn't talk about it. No panicked guesses, no half-jokes, no desperate theories. We just ran like the forest had teeth. Branches whipped at our faces. Roots tried to trip us. The static wasn't just in the radio anymore. It was in the woods, in the ground, in the air. Like the signal had gone wireless. Sarah's flashlight died halfway through a sentence. 1 second we were running in a cone of light, the next we were blind, gulping darkness. Still, we kept moving. One thought pounding in my skull like a drumbeat. Out, out, out. We didn't stop until we stumbled out into a new clearing. I recognized it before we even stood upright. Same shape, same trees, same damn shack. We'd circled back, or maybe the woods had circled us. Either way, the loop was closing. Sarah dropped to her knees, gasping, her hands pressed to the earth like she could hold herself in place. I knelt beside her, but something tugged at the corner of my vision. The shack's window glowed again. Inside, the figures were gone. Just the radio now, humming, waiting, like it had been cleared for the next recording. Sarah stood slowly. "Maybe if we destroy it." "We tried leaving. That didn't work. So we end the signal. And if it ends us with it?" She looked me in the eye. "Then at least we don't become part of the broadcast." Her voice shook, but not from fear, from resolve. We walked to the shack one last time. The door opened without a sound, like it wanted us back. The shortwave sat there on the table, its cracked casing pulsing with that eerie green glow. I raised a rock from the floor, heavy as guilt, lifted it high, and brought it down. The radio didn't break, didn't even dent. Instead, it buzzed louder, and Sarah, standing inches from me, began to flicker, like a bad television signal. "No," I whispered, "not you." She looked at me, and for a second, just a second, I thought she was going to vanish. And then we made a choice. I didn't think. I grabbed her hand, solid, warm, still there, and we ran. No plan, no path, just movement. We sprinted through the trees like they were on fire, like something was chasing us, even if we didn't dare look to see what. The static roared behind us, not from the shack anymore, but from everywhere. The trees crackled, the dirt buzzed, the air itself vibrated like a live wire. But we didn't stop, not even when the ground buckled, not even when the night bent sideways and gravity started acting like a suggestion. We held hands and kept going. I don't remember breaking through the tree line. I just remember the road, our car, and the sunrise bleeding gold through the fog like a promise. Sarah collapsed into the passenger seat, gasping, eyes wild. I got us out of there, tires screaming. The forest didn't chase us, not that we saw. But the radio in the glove compartment crackled the whole drive home. We didn't speak for hours, we just listened. To the silence, to the roads, to the deep, terrifying quiet of freedom. That was 2 weeks ago. We're safe now, I think. I've unplugged every radio in the house, donated our car, even moved apartments. And yet, some nights we hear it, a faint hum, not from inside the walls, not from the neighbors, from nowhere. A sound just barely outside the edge of hearing, like a frequency that's always just out of reach. Sarah doesn't talk about it, but sometimes I catch her standing near the window listening, and sometimes I do the same. This is my way of dealing with it, putting it out there. If you're on a road trip and your portable radio picks up something strange, something that sounds too clear, too real, too personal, don't follow it. Don't investigate. Don't play the hero. Just drive.